Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my eyeshadow palette collection plus a mini declutter. I'll be getting rid of just a few things, but I didn't want to do an actual declutter video since I won't be getting rid of that much. So if you guys are interested in seeing all the palettes that I have in my collection, then just keep watching. Alright, I'm going to do the best I can here. Here is the first palette in my collection. This is the Skylar palette by Elle and Blair. I actually got this palette from my sister. She was decluttering it from her collection and gave it to me probably about a year and a half ago. I don't know how old this palette actually is. This is what it looks like on the inside, so barely used. There's definitely some pretty colors in here, like, let's see. Oh, and they swatch really nicely too. I've never played with this palette, so I actually think I may just keep this guy around. I was thinking of possibly decluttering it, but I think I'll keep it since it still swatches really nicely and I really haven't played around with it at all. So that is that one. All right, next up I have these two palettes from Smashbox. This one was one that also my sister was going to get rid of and gave to me. I actually gave this to her as a Christmas present a while ago. This is what it looks like on the inside. This is pretty old. I'm turning my ring light on. So this is what the palette looks like. Let's see. Ooh, still swatches really nice. That's a really pretty color. Let's also see what this looks like. Ooh, that's pretty too. Ooh, I'll probably hold on to this and just play around with this a little bit before, before decluttering this guy. Don't worry you guys, I won't swatch through everything. So this is a Smashbox palette I got probably about a year and a half ago. This was their Art Love Color Masterclass palette that they did in collaboration, I believe, with an artist. This is one of the first palettes that I picked up when I really got into makeup. As you can tell, they have a bunch of different eyeshadow colors as well as some blushes and stuff. Ooh, that's really pretty. I haven't played around with this palette much in a while, so I may pull this back out and play with this some. I know that some of the colors were patchy and then others were pretty nice, so this is just like an inconsistent palette and it's just so bulky that I don't pull it out that often, but I am going to play around with this a little bit more. Alright, next up I have the Athena palette by Bad Habit. I picked this up at Hush. People say that this is, or it really is, a dupe or kind of a ripoff for the Desert Dusk palette by Huda. This I have used one time and it performed okay. I don't know, it was kind of hard to blend and I felt like the colors muddied together a little bit, but I'm going to hang on to this and play around with it a little bit longer. Alright, next up I have these 4 Wet n Wild palettes. These 3 I actually picked up just today before filming. These are their new ones. I picked them up in all the colors that my Ulta was carrying. So this is Comfort Zone. This is Rosé in the Air. This is the one that looks like the Modern Renaissance palette. And then this one is Nude Awakening, which is a nice cool tone smoky palette. And then I also have the older version of Comfort Zone, which I haven't even opened yet either. Kind of pathetic. But I'm obviously going to hang on to all of these. Next up I have my Z palette that just has most of my Makeup Geek shadows in it, as well as a couple of ABH palettes. I'm obviously going to hold on to these. I'm going to start doing Shop My Stashes, and I want to definitely pull some of these out and put them into a smaller Z palette just to try and use these more often. I obviously love most of the colors, but I just find that I don't reach for this palette simply because it is tucked in the way back. Plus sometimes I like to just use palettes where the colors are just laid out and ready for me rather than trying to come up with my own looks from this, but I definitely want to start using these more. I feel like this just gets kind of left out in my collection, but yeah. Alright, next up I have the Marc Jacobs palette from this holiday. This is what it looks like on the inside. Really pretty. I thought I was going to love this more than I do. I've used it a couple times and I find that, I mean, the eyeshadows perform well. I just feel like they kind of muddy together. They're kind of so soft that they just almost blend together too well. I haven't played around with much of the shimmery shades, so I'm obviously going to hold on to this and play around with it a little bit more, but I don't know, for $99, I can't tell you if I kind of regret buying this, but anyway. Sorry in advance for my, nails. Alright guys, next up I have the Melt Stack. This is their newest one. This is the, I forget what they call this, my last shade fell out, so it's in a different Z palette right now. What do they call this one? This was called the Dark Matter Stack. Anyway, I really like these. I love this purple, and I like that this is just cooler toned. I've been really into purples lately, so yeah, I really like this. It's definitely more on the pricey side and a little bit bulky and hard to like travel with or store, but I really do enjoy this formula. Next up I have this palette from KVD. This is their smoky palette. My daughter got into this, which is why it is so messy, but this is just a really pretty colorful palette. I haven't played around with this enough. I need to pull this out to use it more. But yeah, not a whole lot to say about this. They're definitely more on the affordable side, and like their shadows swatch really nicely, not patchy, really beautiful, really pigmented. So I want to play around with this more. It's just, the color is intimidating, you know? Let's swatch one more. Let's do this green. Ew, like so pretty. I could do a St. Patty's look with that. Anyway, so that is the KVD Smoky palette. All right, took a break to watch swatches off. Next up, we have the Cocoa Blend palette from Zoeva. This is what this looks like. I really love this palette. It looks like I haven't used it that much, but I have, I promise. These two colors are just beautiful for like a warm eye look, and I like the like purple shimmer. I like that it has the darker shades, so you can definitely deepen a look up and do a lot with this. So really been enjoying this palette. All right, next I have this MAC palette. This has gotten a lot of love. This is probably like 2 years old though. So this is their warm neutral palette. I believe you can still get this. Look how much love these two got. This palette I had before I even really knew what I was doing with makeup. But there's definitely some shades still that like haven't gotten enough love. And still swatch pretty well. This is old. I was worried it would have gone bad. That's a little patchy, but yeah, really like this palette. Obviously not going to get rid of this. This has a lot of sentimental memories. So yeah, this is the MAC Warm Neutral palette. Next up, I have the Urban Decay Naked 2 Basics palette. My grandparents got this for me for Christmas a couple years ago. This is what it looks like. This is just a nice travel palette. Hello again. There, I feel like my ring light was too bright. So nice travel palette, just a lot of nice neutral shades. I'm not the biggest fan of the Urban Decay eyeshadow formula, but again, this is just a really nice one to have if you want to travel with it, or if you're just going away for a weekend and just need some simple matte shades to do simple eye looks. Good one to have. Okay, so I have these two small NYX palettes. I believe I got both of them in Ipsy or like a boxycharm. These, I like never reach more. These are just shimmery shades. Ooh, that actually swatches pretty nicely. Just a bronze and then like a smoky color. Anyway, I feel like I don't need this, nor do I reach for it, so I'm going to get rid of this. Then I have this NYX palette. Again, these are all shimmery shades that I just don't really reach for that often. It's a really, really pretty color. Sorry, I'm horrible at swatching at the angle I'm at. Ooh, and that's pretty red. Maybe I'll hang on to this and try and pull this out and use this a bit more. So then I also have this NYX Air palette. This was one of their like element palettes. I haven't used this at all. I actually just bought this simply because I loved these three shades. To be honest, this palette kind of intimidates me and I really would only use it for these few shades, but I love them so much that like I feel like I can't get rid of this palette. Yeah, like the camera is not doing this justice, but these are just some really pretty shimmery shades, so I'm gonna hang on to this guy. Alright guys, then I have the Urban Decay Electric palette. I never use this palette, but I have to keep it simply because it's so cool. If I ever wanted to do a really fun color, or like maybe if I want to play around for Halloween looks and stuff next year, I'm obviously gonna pull this out. It's just such a cool palette, and like honestly, I just mostly, oh my god, look at that. I love to collect makeup, so this is just, you know, this means a lot to me to have this in my collection. So that is the Urban Decay Electric. Next, this is my only palette from BH Cosmetics. This is the B by Bubs Beauty palette. Oops, almost dropped that. This is what it looks like. I really actually like this palette. The shadows perform really well. This was definitely a more affordable palette. I don't know if you can still get this, but if you can, I will link it down below. I really like it. You can definitely do some neutral looks, but then jazz it up with some of these like purples. So this is a really great affordable palette. Alright guys, next up I have my Kylie Cosmetics Take Me on Vacation palette. This is what it looks like. I don't love this palette. I was actually really disappointed. Obviously I got it for this blue color. I ordered this like the day it came out, and these are just not that pigmented. They don't perform that well. they just take a while to blend out, and they just, like, again, they're really not that pigmented. So this was a disappointing palette. I'm definitely going to be passing this one along. If you guys are interested, I will be putting my palettes on Poshmark. I will link my Poshmark down below in case you are interested. Maybe someone else would like this a little bit better than me, but this, I'm just gonna pass this guy along. Alright guys, then I have my 2 Dose of Colors palettes. I have the Baked Browns as well as the Blushing Berries. Here is the Baked Browns. I absolutely love both of these palettes. These are so easy for travel. They are such a great eyeshadow formula. There is the Blushing Berries. Oh my gosh, such pretty colors. I absolutely love this. I need to use this week. I have been really into these like cool toned purpley colors, so again, really love the Dose of Colors little quints here. I definitely want to get the Marvelous Mauves one, and I would just recommend these to anyone. I love these. Alright guys, next these random ones that were over on the side. So this I just got in a boxycharm. This is just a little Pacifica eyeshadow palette. I probably won't get the most use out of this. I may pass this along since it's not even been swatched, just because it's all shimmery shades and I don't see myself using this. So I'm going to pass this guy along. I have this little Clinique quad. This has just like some darker green shades, a little bit more muted. There they are right there. I used to use this palette quite a bit before I really got into makeup. I just don't reach for this at all anymore, so I think I'm gonna pass this guy along. Then I have this little guy from Naked Cosmetics. It just has these 3 shades in here. I believe I got this in some sort of monthly subscription box. I never reach for this. I'm gonna pass this along. Then I have this from IBY Beauty. This is, again, just a little, like, little 3-pan palette. I never use this either, so I'm gonna pass this along. Alright guys, next up I have my e.l.f. Mad for Mattes. I actually just recently picked this up. It took me forever to get this, but I am in love. This is so worth the $10. The shadows perform really great. I absolutely am obsessed with this. You should definitely go get it if you've been considering. Then I have the Alchemist palette by Kat Von D. Looks like this. It has just the, like, oh my gosh, what do they call that? Duochromatic shades. Anyway, these are really cool. I don't think they'll swatch well at all. But I really love this palette. Love this palette. I waited forever to buy this, but I'm so glad that I finally picked it up. And I have one of the Huda Beauty minis. This is the Electric Obsessions palette. I picked this up so that I would have more color in my collection, and I really enjoy this palette. I haven't used it a whole ton, but these shadows actually perform pretty well. I just love that purple. I think it's so pretty. Let me just show you. Like, look at that pink. I really like this palette. So if you guys have been considering the Huda minis, I don't know, I know they're $27, but they're really nice and compact and easy to travel with. So yeah. And I have these 2 palettes from the Unique. I have the Moodstruck 1 as well as the Moodstruck 3. I'm gonna get rid of these. I just never reach for them. This is what the 1 looks like. It's just a really neutral palette. And then the 3 is a neutral purple. Oops, that has a gouge out of it from my daughter. So, I mean, it's not like they perform bad. I just don't really reach for them. So I'm going to be getting rid of these. Alright, next up I have my 2 Ciaté Chloe Morello palettes. The first one is the Pretty Fun and Fearless palette. This was the first one that they did. Again, my daughter got into this a little bit, so it's a little gouged out. But this got a lot of love when I first got it, and I need to start using this again because it has some of those purples in it that I've really been into lately. So I've been loving... So I absolutely love this palette. I don't know if you can still get the first one, but if you can, I would highly recommend this one. And then I also picked up the 2 this holiday season. I haven't used this at all yet, but this one's really fun. It came with more shadows, I believe, than the first one, and just a lot of fun, like, pops of colors and just fun shadows. So I need to pull this out and actually use it, but those are my 2 Ciaté palettes. Then I also have this It Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette. This was actually my sister's that she gave to me because she just never used it. And to be honest, I also never use this. I just don't feel like the shadows are as pigmented as I was hoping that they would be. And it's just, okay, now I swatched that and it's super pigmented, but it's just not my favorite. Okay, I guess they're swatching pretty pigmented, but I just felt like the couple times I tried to use this on my eyes, it just didn't look as intense as I thought it was going to. So, and I know it says naturally pretty, so maybe it's supposed to be for more natural looks, but I am going to be getting rid of this guy. Alright, next up, some Colourpop palettes. This is just a little duo. This is really pretty. I don't use this enough. This was from their Valentine's Day collection last year. I don't even know what color the shadows are, but just really cute how this is packaged. And yeah, I really like Colourpop's pressed shadows. I think they're phenomenal. I like them a lot better than their Super Shock shadows, so I definitely will be hanging on to this. And then I have two of their 12 or 16 pan. I can't remember. 12 pan? 12. Anyway, so this is the Element of Surprise palette. I really like this palette. You can do some really fun looks with this. I like how it has this really like pretty duochromatic purple shade, but you can definitely still get your neutral looks out of this. This one is another one that's really easy to travel with, and you can get quite a few fun looks with this. So I really enjoy the Element of Surprise palette. And then I also have the She palette, which was in collaboration with Karuchi. Anyway, this is what this looks like. Definitely looks a little more like romantic and pretty. I also really enjoy this palette. I really like the Colourpop pressed shadows. You definitely have to work with them a little bit more to get them to blend out how you want, but really pretty and a really good affordable formula. So really enjoy both of my Colourpop palettes. Alright guys, next up we'll go with Lorac. This is my Pro 1. My daughter got into this, but I had panned these 7, 8, 9, 10 shades before she even like started to dig into them. So this palette got a ton of love, but at this point, like this one I'm just going to toss out. I also do have the Pro, I believe this is the 3, nope, this is the 2. This is what the 2 looks like. I've used it some, definitely used Cocoa quite a bit, and then also Rosé, Beige, and Snow, and Buff and Light Brown. I need to pull this back out and play with it, but again, I'm just not the biggest fan of the Lorac eyeshadow formula anymore. I just feel like it's almost so soft, or too soft, that it just blends, they all like blend and muddy together. But I obviously am going to hang on to this. I have these 3 Lorac, I can't remember what these were called. I got these for Christmas a while ago, and I think there was even a 4th, but this one is Caramel Affair. I'm actually going to hang on to this. These are all shimmery shades, but I really do enjoy these. Then I have the Ooh La Vanilla, which my daughter also got into. I feel like I may, I feel like I may just get rid of this. I never reach for these. Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of this. And then I have the, this is worn off. I used this so much in college. Again, these were all shimmery shades. I'm just going to get rid of this. The mirror on this is even broken. But I am going to hang on to this Caramel Love Affair. Alright guys, I also have this one from Marc Jacobs. This is an older, I think there's 8 shadows in here, 7. This was their Plush Shadow Ombre Palette, number 7206, the Lolita, I don't know what the name of it is. Looks like this. I feel like the formula has improved since this one came out. This is a lot of like nice lighter shimmery shades and then like your neutral transitions. I'm going to hold on to this. I do like it. I just feel like Marc Jacobs shadow has been reformulated and improved, but I still really do enjoy this, and it's easy for travel. I have these couple that I got from BoxyCharm. I just got this one last month. This is the Glam Metals palette. I'm not impressed by this, but there's this gouge out of it, so I don't know. I'm never going to use this. I feel like I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to pass this along. And then I also have this Winky Lux palette. This guy's really cute, and I actually really do like the colors in this. I just kind of need to pull this out and play with it. Then I have these 2 Studio Makeup on the Go palettes that I also got in BoxyCharms. One of them is the Brown Neutrals. This has gotten a lot of love too. I actually really like the formula on this, and I just wish it had a mirror, but these are perfect for travel as well. And then I also have the purple one that looks like this. I really do love this one too, so definitely holding on to both of these. Alright guys, next up, my Too Faced palettes. I have the Chocolate Bar palette, which my daughter has also gotten into. I know, horrible, but I love this palette. Like, this is a staple in my collection. I use this all the time, so definitely hanging on to this. And then I also have the Sweet Peach palette, which I haven't used in a long time, but I forgot, I really do enjoy this palette. This one got a lot of love as like a base shade when I first used it, as well as like these 2 shades. And now now that I'm really into purples, I want to use the Summer Yum and Talk Derby. I thought it said Talk Berry to me. Oh, Peach Pit and Delectable. Anyway, I'm going to pull this back out and start using this because I actually really am one of the ones that enjoys the Sweet Peach palette. Then I have these two older Too Faced palettes. This is the this is the Naked Eye palette. Looks like this. And I still have like all this stuff for this. But I don't know, I just never reach for this. Let's see. It still swatches really well. These are not necessarily like my tones or my vibes, so I'm gonna pass this along. Then I also have the Too Faced Natural at Night. Looks like this. Again, really pretty. Let's see. I actually may hang on to this. This is like more my vibes. I'm gonna hang on to this. This one's pretty. Then I have my two limited edition Kat Von D palettes. I have the Serpentina palette, which I never use, but I would never get rid of because, I mean, it's beautiful and it's limited edition, and I really love all Kat Von D's products. So even if these, or when these shadows go bad, I'm still going to hang on to this. This is like a collector piece for me, so love this. And then I feel the exact same way about the Metal Matte palette. I love this palette. I don't use it enough. I feel like my daughter like dug into one of these shades too, but it's just such a cool palette. So absolutely love the Metal Matte and so happy I got my hands on it. Alright, next up are my Juvia's Place palettes. This is the Saharan palette. I love Juvia's Place eyeshadows. They have such good quality. This is the Saharan 2. I need to pull this because these are such beautiful shades, and I mean, these are all really fun. Sometimes these shimmery shades sort of intimidate me, but I love, again, I love Juvia's Place, their formula. Here is my Nubian 2. Again, my daughter got into this. You guys are probably horrified, but I love this one. Again, this purple shade I really love, this brown shade I really love, some great neutrals, and then like this fun blue that my daughter got into, but it's so beautiful. Love that Nubian 2. Next up I have these two from Pure Cosmetics. This is the Soiree Diaries. I got this in a boxycharm. This is a great neutral palette if you love neutral colors like this. You've got your warm tones with a couple of cool tones as well. Easy to travel with. This actually looks warm on camera, but I swear it's cool. I enjoy this palette. I do find that the shadows don't blend out as much as I would like. I don't know if I even care enough to keep this. I actually may get rid of this just because I have so many other palettes like this and I never reach for this, so I am going to pass this along. I also have the Pure Love Your Selfie 2. Looks like this. It came with like a mascara, an eye pencil, and a lipstick or lip gloss. You've got like your highlight, a bronzer, which is way too warm, and then like a blush topper, as well as your 8 eyeshadow shades. This is just a palette that I don't reach for at all, and while the quality is nice, like these are pigmented and pretty, I again just don't reach for this palette enough, so I feel like I'm gonna pass this one along as well. Alright, here's the one Viseart palette that I do own. This is their Warm Matte palette. Looks like this. I love this. Viseart palettes are such good quality. It looks like this hasn't gotten that much love. I haven't used it a ton, but I definitely have used it a few times, and the quality is just so great. I definitely want to pick up the Dark Matte palette. I kind of wish I had gotten that one over this one, but I do plan to pick that up during the VIB sale this spring. And then I also have the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I finally bit the bullet and purchased this. This is a beautiful palette. I kind of do want to buy more Natasha Denona, even though they're so outrageously priced. I love the shimmers and like the couple of duochrome shades in here. They're just like unlike anything else. The mattes perform really well. It's just such a unique palette. Like I feel like I can't get these colors from other palettes, so I really do like this palette. Next up I have my Tarte palettes. This is the Clay Play 1. A nice neutral palette, easy to travel with. Fun that it has the bronzers at the bottom and then neutral shades that you can obviously use to do neutral eye looks. I really like this palette. It's newer to my collection. I got this right before they brought out the Clay Play 2, so I really like this. Then I have my Tartelette Tease palette. Looks like this. I am currently working on panning this in my Project Pan. If you guys are interested in watching that video, I will link it down below. I love this palette. This palette has got me really into purples right now due to like this bottom row. As you can see, I have panned this shade, but yeah, I love Tarte's formula, and I really do like this. Is nice and compact, but you can create easy and pretty eye looks with this, so love the Tartelette Tease. Yeah, the Tarte Tease. Then I have the Tarte Toasted palette, or the Tarte Lit Toasted palette. Looks like this. I've used it one time. Wasn't all that impressed. I definitely prefer other warm palettes to this, but I want to play around with this a little bit more. I feel like maybe I just didn't give it enough of a chance, or just, I don't know, maybe I was having an off day, but I wasn't as blown away by this as I thought I would be. And my favorite Tarte palette of all time is the Tarte Lit in Bloom palette. This palette has gotten a lot of love. I need to pull this back out because I just love this palette so much, but I've been using other ones lately. So this is my Tarte in Bloom palette. This is probably the one that I would recommend most out of all Tarte palettes that I own. Next up is ABH. ABH, I will buy every palette they ever come out with. It's my favorite eyeshadow formula, I swear. So this is my Modern Ren. My daughter got into a few shades of this. I'm one of these people that, like, if I love something so much, sometimes I don't use it, which is stupid, because I can obviously buy and replace this. So I need to just use this more, but I love my Modern Renaissance palette. Here's my Subculture, which I actually haven't used. I know I'm really bad about buying palettes and just like letting them sit there. But again, I love the Anastasia formula so much. And I will always collect ABH anything pretty much. So there is the Subculture palette. I know this has a lot of controversy surrounding it, but there's some fun colors in here. Like, I want to try this Rowdy because, you know, I'm into the purples. But even like the blues and stuff in here are just so fun. Actually, I lie. I have used the electric color in here, but that's the only color that I've used thus far. Then I also have the Prism palette, which again, I have not used yet. I'm so bad, you guys, but I need to pull this out and use it. But again, I love all the products that I use from Anastasia Beverly Hills, her glow kits, the things that I've actually owned and used. I just love ABH. So that's the Prism palette. I cannot wait for the Soft Glam palette to come out. Here's the Master by Mario palette. I actually wasn't going to get this and bought it on a whim, and I'm so glad I did. This is probably the palette from ABH of mine that has gotten the most love. I've used literally every color in here. I love this palette. I really want them to do a second round or a second collab because I love this palette so much. You guys, and then I do have the Sephora Pro Editorial. Again, another palette I have but have not used. This is a very intimidating palette to me, but I wanted some quality color in my collection, and I felt like I could get that from this. Like, I feel like I'm gonna drop this palette, but like, that is unreal. So I definitely do need to pull this out and experiment and play around with it, but this is one of my favorite palettes just to like look at. The packaging on this is so high quality and nice. It's pretty heavy. So I don't know, I love having this in my collection. Alright guys, and then finally my Morphe collection. I have the 25B and 25A, these Morphe like 27 or 25 pan palettes. I forget. I definitely use the B more than I do the A. I don't know, like some of these, the way that I had them stored, for some reason they crumbled. It wasn't like I dropped it, so I don't really know what happened with this. I don't love this palette that much. Again, I definitely like this one more. I do feel like the quality is okay. Like the Jaclyn Hill palette is definitely better quality, but I may get rid of this one just because I don't use it that much, but I'm definitely going to hold on to the 25B. And then I have the 350 palette. This is lightly used. For some reason, I just don't reach for this that much. I think because it sits closed like this, it's just easy to forget about, and it is a bulkier palette. I have my favorite palettes that I'm comfortable using, and like I just always reach for those. I need to be better because I have a pretty large palette collection. I need to be better about cycling through stuff, but this is the 350. Then I have the 3502, which I actually like better and can't wait to pull this out definitely like next fall. But I need to, ooh, like I'm loving all of these right now. I'm gonna have to pull this out and do a look with this in the next few days. This is the 3502. I have heard the quality on this is better than the 350. This is one that I've swatched, not used. I know I'm horrible. I buy palettes and then I don't use them, which is just so bad. But anyway, this is the 3502. And then finally, the last palette I have to share with you guys is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I have used this palette quite a bit. I love this palette. I love all the neutrals, but then like the fun colors, and I love Jaclyn Hill personally. I think, you know, I just really enjoy watching her videos. And I was so happy to be able to support her with this collab, so I really enjoy this palette. I would never get rid of this. I absolutely love this one. Alright you guys, that is it for my eyeshadow palette collection. I need to go put these all back in their spots. If you have stuck around to the end, thank you so much. Definitely let me know in the comment box below what your favorite palettes are. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do so before you go. And other than that, I'll just see you guys in my next video. Bye!